Welcome to PulpMX Classic Commentary, Daytona 05. With me here, I'm Steve Matthes, and with me here is
Chad Reed.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for doing this. I know you're busy, but you got some downtime. So
a lot of downtime, too much downtime.
Here we go. Flashback 04 Daytona. This is the steel-framed YZ250, your factory Yamaha guy here.
My favorite one.
And check out this start, and then a triple off the start to say see you later.
It's kind of sad I don't actually remember this race a whole lot, other than the fact that I win and I crash.
I don't remember it either, to be honest. How many times you won Daytona?
But it looks like the normal, typical Daytona. You know, rough, beat up, gnarly. Actually, I crashed right here. I remember. Yep. Lost the front a little bit and washed out the front, and just crashed in the whoops, but got back up and still won.
Yeah, still won. I saw Pastrana behind you earlier, so I'm trying to rack my brain.
Yeah, I want to say that Larocco got second in that race, and maybe Wyndham was second here. Maybe I don't know. So I don't know if Wyndham was second and Larocco third.
This might have been the first year under the lights, even, because it does look at night, and now we've been doing it. You've done it 1 year, old school, 03.
Yeah, only one time. Actually, 02.
02, Yamaha Troy.
02 and 03, I think, was maybe first year into the lights.
No, 03 was old school, middle of the day.
Yeah. So, so I've only done it twice.
Here we go, parade lap.
Parade lap where I got an RC helmet cam back in the day. So
now, so you're the defending Supercross champion in 05. Yes, you are. You won 04. Carmichael was out, comes back in 05 on a Suzuki, and you're the defending champion. And really, it's kind of you two only at this point.
Yeah, I mean, up until this point, we'd kind of been trading wins. I think he was maybe a couple of wins up for me. I think this week was maybe the week after Atlanta, and we had been to San Diego. I'd won San Diego, he won Atlanta, and then leading up to this race, there was just a lot of talk. Bailey and Rick Johnson were doing the commentating, and I just remember doing the Dave Despain show, and it was just a lot of talk about Ricky, being in his backyard at Sandy, how gnarly he is, how fit he is, and all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to kind of be the spoiler, I wanted to go out there and try to change it up. Well,
you had won the year before, and you were defending champion. So yeah, basically you. I think that's me right there.
Yeah, that is you.
That is me, just standing there.
Everyone else is in jackets and long pants, and you're in shorts.
Yeah,
so
that might
definitely,
be me. Hey,
definitely.
Check out those ruts in front of the
gate.
Those
ruts are gnarly, I think. And it's a shame that Daytona really isn't like that anymore. Now that we start on the clay and head towards the fans. But I think for the most part, I'm real happy that I got to race. Actually, it's kind of funny here watching this and watching me pick Gate 1. I'm normally not a Gate 1 kind of guy. My old mechanic rookie, and man, it brings back some old memories here.
And there I am with the great
the big 1.5.
But now this bike here.
That's special. Look, Jim Perry on the starting line.
Jeez.
Wow.
You didn't like this bike, aluminum frame. Now, we as mechanics were told that this thing was exactly like the 04, but you didn't like this bike.
Yeah, I mean, you were there through that whole transition, and we did a lot. We did a lot of testing, and I think that for what we know today, and what 6-7 years later, that bike could be amazing actually. But at that time we were new to it. We didn't really know what it needed, and Yamaha really never had a lot of help from Japan in the fact that we never really actually my whole time that I spent at Yamaha I never ever tested with the Japanese. So I just think that we were limited on what we knew, and they didn't learn a lot from Honda's wars that they went through.
This might be a dumb question, but with Ricky missing the whole Supercross season, were you surprised at how much of a run he gave you? I mean, you were pretty dominant the year before, but did you know it was going to be a dogfight with him the whole year?
Not at any point, because even when Ricky came back from his blown out knee, he went 24-0 in outdoors. So
that's a good point. You're right.
That kind of right there, that almost erases your championship, and you're pissed off and ready to go.
Right, here we go, Daytona 250 gate drops, and
I want to say I think I whole shot actually. I whole shot, and I think I pretty much get out front. And
so right now you're feeling pretty good, obviously. Travis Preston.
At this point, I mean, where I want to be. I want to be out front, and they got a gnarly set of whoops here. They beat up everyone through today, and as you can see, they're pretty ruddy and nasty. Jeez. I think that was, who was that, Ernie or someone like that?
That's the Rocco right there.
The Rocco right there. Somebody went off track, but this section was tough. Back in those days when we raced, it was they had it was almost like lime, like it was weird, like a real gravelly white dirt. So racing at night where you went from dark dirt to orange clay to white kind of gravelly dirt. It was pretty tough to.
If I remember right, the week before this, Atlanta was one of your more frustrating races. Ricky caught you from a ways back, and you were not happy after the race.
Yeah, I mean, I was leading.
The crowd was freaking out for Ricky too. So like
exactly. I mean, that's almost probably one of his home races, actually. And yeah, I mean, I hole shotted, I think, Atlanta, and coming off of the week before where I rode away and won really easily. Actually, I shouldn't say I rode away. I actually caught him that year. It was another year that I rode away, but that year I caught him and passed him on the last lap. And then, Atlanta, hole shotted. He passed me in the first turn, pulled away, crashed. I got back in the lead, and then he caught me back up and passed me same spot in the first turn. So, it was just pretty much to add salt to the wounds, really. I mean, we struggled all year long in the hard pack, and it was real hard pack in Atlanta, and couldn't turn on the flat. So,
so this race right here, you're just like, you know what, I'm pulling away. I'm going to win this. You're determined.
I would say that this is probably one of my favorite races of all time, and probably mainly because not only was it Daytona, but it was with Ricky, and
you're in his backyard.
We went at it. I think that the two of us just laid it down.
Look at the lead you already have. We're on the second lap right now, and Larocco is probably 6 or 7 seconds.
Yeah, and right there, you see Ricky triple, and Ricky and I think they're the only two triple in that, and it was quite a bit faster. So it was just one of those races that I think Ricky kind of chases me down here and gets on me, but for the most part, we just battled. I remember just at the end of it, win or lose, I knew that I just gave it my all and was just pumped.
If you had to pick Daytona features, though, okay, so we have this at night, maybe a little more traditional Supercross. We have 03, 02, rough as hell in the middle of the day, beat up, and now we have now, which is sort of almost a little bit high. Ricky's designed the track, and it's a little more outdoorsy than it was on this race. Do you have a favorite? Do you have one that you like better?
I mean, I lean towards liking like this one that we're watching, mainly just because how gnarly it was, and I love Daytona always, and I like the new version just as much, and obviously Barnett builds it, but this was one of the last ones kind of built traditionally by Gary Bailey and all that kind of stuff. So just not a lot of flow. You had to make do with what was out there, jumping off to little jumps that weren't even there at the beginning of the day, and they just develop over the weekend. And this section that we're coming up to, it's like a step on, step off, and that was just real tradition. For about 3 or 4 years, we had that section there every year. So it was brutal.
Also, two strokes. So a little different animal, a little different beast.
I think. I actually think I have the last 2-stroke win too, as well. So, to race it, and then we mentioned, I was struggling that year, and I didn't triple right there, and you see Ricky kind of how much he catches me, and I think that this is some of the best helmet cam footage, and I remember watching the actual race, and I want to say it was RJ and Bailey, and basically they both just said there's no need to even commentate, it's just let's and you could just hear both of us just getting after it on the old 2-stroke, so it was pretty cool.
Carmichael just set the fastest lap, so he's coming.
Yeah, he's coming.
He's on you. Growing up in Australia, did you have any idea of significance of Daytona and knew all about it and knew what it was like, or did you understand it? Because in America, it's always been a revered race.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it has a lot of tradition, and I probably didn't really understand or respect its tradition that it had, but I definitely knew how brutal it was and how gnarly it was, and every time you watched it on DVDs or whatever it was, they always made a big deal of it, and obviously, excuse me, is such a big difference from your normal stadium Supercross track. So to come and see it and actually see the high banks of Daytona and the fact that we raced between pit lane and the finish line was pretty sweet.
Red Dog told me one time that he never had he always knew when Carmichael was behind him.
Yeah, I mean,
he could pick anybody out. He didn't know anybody else, but he knew when Carmichael was behind him. Do you agree?
It does a lot of revving, clutches the thing gnarly, and I think he does it extra when he's behind you. Yeah. And then he just brings a certain...
Oh, I think that's Jason Thomas.
One wheel in one rut and one wheel in the other. It definitely looked like JT there.
13 seconds, LaRocco was behind you on the on 7 laps. So, yeah, you guys are yarding everybody.
Yeah, so we're out of there. I mean, it was just a race for the two of us, really, and it was like that all year. So,
did you know he was catching you? Do you remember how far back?
Do
you know at this point? Do you realize you can mark him and see that you don't?
Well, not only can you hear him, but the crowd. I mean, the crowd in Florida, obviously, big Ricky fans, and
that's rough right there.
The whoops were nasty, and this section was nasty too. Ricky actually makes quite a few mistakes through here all night long, and it was probably one of the areas that I was quite a bit better than him and able to pull away, but. Yeah, it was just a matter of hitting your lines and just riding my race, and that was why I felt like this was one of my better races because, through it all, I felt like I just, kind of rose above the fact that he was on me and the pressure and everything that went along with it and the beat down that I took the week before.
Yeah.
To come out here and get a win in his backyard was quite special.
He's thinking right now, he's like, this is going to be just like Atlanta where I'm going to catch him and motor away.
Yeah, I mean, he's always, majority of the time through our careers, he's definitely the stronger of the two in the later part of the races. And so I think, probably in his world, he thinks, I got him on the ropes. But I can promise you this weekend it wasn't going to happen. I was just pumped up for all that was said, and I just wanted to prove everyone that I was strong enough to win at Daytona.
How bad did the rivalry get? And he's on you right here, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you can see me protecting the line right there.
How bad was the rivalry between you guys at one point? Like I said, I was on the team and we didn't like Carmichael, but I mean, did you guys have a genuine hate there, do you think? Or
obviously now that it's all been done and said, I think that there was never really a lot of hate, I just felt like it was just hard racing and he was so dominant and so strong and there every weekend that you develop this rivalry where you just want to beat the guy unbelievably bad. Where if you want to talk about rivalries, obviously, Stu and I have a little different. So I wouldn't say that it was, necessarily a lot of hate.
I think we felt on the team that he didn't respect your speed. Like every time you beat him, it was a reason why. And we're like, no, he just beat you. And it seemed like Carmichael in post-race interviews and things had a hard time saying, I just got beat.
Yeah.
And that's why we felt like,
Yeah, and I guess for somebody that was, taking a lot of slack for saying very similar things to what he said when he lost, it was just that I lost a hell of a lot more than he did. But, I felt like I took a pretty good beating on, people thinking I was a whiner and all this kind of, bullshit about, just saying why I lost or why I felt I lost. And, really, honestly, that's what he was doing as well. It was just kind of giving his reasons why he felt he lost. And people looked at him as excuses. And I think that that was what frustrated me more than anything, was just that he was saying the same things I was and giving the same reasons. And yet he was,
everybody was okay with that.
Everyone was still okay with it.
Yeah, and on the team, we felt like, hey, dude, Chad just like at the end of 03, you just outrode him every weekend.
Yeah, I think, 03, I felt like, my rookie mistakes, basically. Here we go. Yeah, rookie. We see all three number plates. That was very much a tradition through Ricky's career in the whoops. But, I think that, in 03, obviously, I made rookie mistakes and put Ricky in a position where he could just kind of sail it in, and we had him covered, bikes, tires, everything at the end of the year. And I honestly
switched your line there. You started going inside, maybe because of the lapper. But.
I honestly think that in 04, had Ricky have raced, I felt like we had a good chance to beat up on him because his bike wasn't any better, and I think that we were going to see him ride a 4-stroke because, at the time he was on factory Honda, my best friend at the time, Nathan Ramsey. So I knew all the stuff that he was going through, and I knew that the beatdown he took in 03 at the end wasn't taken lightly, and he was wanting to step up and get a better bike, and I felt that at that point, 03, 04, we had the best bike, the best tires, and we just had a great program going.
Yeah, although this motor was still good in this bike, but the chassis was a little jacked up, no doubt. I know all you guys were struggling, trying to find a way. What's funny is you probably don't even know this, but this bike and the bike you went wasn't far off Jeremy McGrath's bikes of the late '90s and early 2000s.
No,
motor-wise,
even with the aluminum frame, it really wasn't any different. And that was the big sales pitch that we got, given to us. and as riders we were to sell was the fact that, it looked like a normal, steel frame. It wasn't a perimeter frame, and therefore it was going to be the same.
Yeah.
And obviously from riders, we all knew right away that it wasn't quite the same, and that we were going to need a lot of work.
I think there was some testing days where we actually put cylinder heads that were inscribed MC. You know what I mean? Just to try it.
I mean, more times than not, I had practice wheels that all had MC, 1 or 2, and it's crazy all those old parts around the race shop.
Did you get? Now you're still sort of early in your career here. You've only been on 3 years. Did you feel like fans? I mean, because Ricky was at this point, Ricky was the king, And did you feel like fans? You had no fans. I mean,
no. At no point. Yeah, at no point did I ever feel like, even through the worst of it, I never felt like that I had no fans.
Yeah.
Because even through the hate, I had my autograph line never shrunk. It never was any smaller than what it ever was. But it was the crowd, really, But as far as people coming and saying hi, it was always the same.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you can see it. I mean, Ricky's going for it. I'm going for it. I get held up every once in a while. He gets held up, and we're just grinding away.
And like I said, LaRocco's riding a great race for third, but he's not in the picture right now. You two guys are pushing each other, and it was a time of like Ricky was sort of just even though you seemed like you had him covered, it on a Suzuki he got a little better, and then at Daytona
he was much better on a Suzuki. He actually was the first time and only time really in his career that he could match or be better than me in the whoops. And obviously he was always known for his strength. He just messed up that whole section there. So
he did. What kind of rhythm was
he
that?
Just like I said earlier, I mean, he made quite a few mistakes there. It was kind of a sketchy system, section where we kind of tripled onto a table and then doubled off. So
did you ever feel like
and then I go make a mistake.
Speaking of sketchiness.
Oh, JT right there.
Oh, look, you're lapping the 1.5. Let's have a moment of silence.
Am I lapping?
Yeah, let's have a moment.
What?
You just lapped 1.5.
I did?
Well, we had a little wrist problem. We're battling a little wrist problem this year.
Wow.
Otherwise, I have no doubt that he
was this the year that he rode a two-stroke?
Yep. Yeah, he was on a two-stroke. Oh, here we go. So, yeah, Ricky screwing up his whole
rhythm. He just didn't triple right there. Ooh, that felt nice.
How about like all the times that we would see him like eat shit in practice, and you were like, "Oh, he's down for the count," and then
I think I want to say 2003, the year that he went crazy on us at Salt Lake City, when he crashed in practice, split his chit open, had to go to hospital, get stitches, and at no point he just messed it up again 2 laps in a row. So at this point,
he's so mad right now.
He's so mad. We just know Ricky,
and
it'd be actually funny to sit in this and have him commentate this thing with us, but. I think, it's just, I mean, the track's getting brutal and he's getting frustrated. And I'm obviously opening up a gap, so I'm feeling better and better every lap.
Yeah, maybe you make a mistake here because I remember this thing being a little closer at the end.
I win this thing pretty easy.
Oh, okay. So, he's just making mistakes.
He ends up crashing, I think, maybe 2 or 3 laps to go.
But don't ruin it for the viewers, but yeah.
Oops.
But no.
Cut that part out.
Yeah, we'll edit it out. No, we won't. But he was better on a Suzuki. And also, too, when he was on the Honda, we as a team were laughing at his setup because he could not go through the whoops. It was just like, Ricky, there we go. There he goes.
So 4 laps to go.
Right there, onto the pavement.
Yeah, that's a
good crash.
That's just Ricky trying to step it up, and the whoops being pretty brutal, and
1.5
we got the big 1.5, doubling, double through there.
Come on, stop it. Look he's got Honda banners. It's not good right now.
I mean, to say what you're talking about with the Honda thing, I think, we definitely laughed about it, and I probably think that the worst thing that I did is, before he signed with Suzuki, my deal was up as well, and I was one of the riders in line with that for that job, and I went and test rode that bike. So the reason why our engine was so much better than what it was in 2004 was because I actually rode that thing, and that engine was awesome. And then
where'd you ride in Cali?
The whole. I mean, they basically copied a Yamaha. I mean, the whole linkage was from a Yamaha. The frame was very similar to a Yamaha. I rode it at Cali at the Suzuki track, 7 o'clock one morning, and no one knew about it. Rode some gear. I think I might have wore Tortelli gear or something like that. It was just so in my mind, I knew how good that bike was, and then I knew that we went the opposite direction. So it kind of mind jacked myself a little bit too.
Would you and Ricky be sociable at this point? being competitors, or was it, opening ceremonies, like not look at each other, not talk to each other?
Yeah, I mean, Ricky was a guy that you could talk to him and whatever, but you didn't get a lot from him. There's the lights were home, but no one was home. And didn't really.
I feel like right now in 2012, you could talk to Villapoto and you guys would talk a little bit. You could talk to Kevin Windham. You and Ricky, though, just nothing there.
Yeah, nothing there. I mean, just because he was so focused, and that was what drove him, and that was how he operated. Where I've said it a few times in interviews. Like I grew up, my toughest competitor, and when I went pro, the guy that was number one was my cousin. So at no point did I hate my cousin.
Yeah.
So I always, felt that I never needed to hate anybody to race them and beat them. So at this point, 2 laps to go, I'm just
you're cruising.
Do
you remember? I guess it's hard for you to say this, but do you remember?
That's some hideous gear right there.
Yeah, it's not the nicest. Last lap, going for 2 in a row at Daytona, which is a special place to win. Don't they put your bike in? They take your gear or something after the race?
I think they take your gear. I think they always want to take your gear, and I think Ricky has maybe 5 Daytona wins. Him and Stanton, I think, are all time. I think he just beat Stanton. So
I think you just lapped the Cobra there with his FMF pipe.
I don't know if I have 3 or 4 wins, but it's definitely that'd be a cool goal to get up there on Daytona wins.
Yeah. Now, do you remember the bike working better at this race here? Obviously, you won, so it did. But
anytime that it rained or we had softer dirt,
yeah,
we were fine with that bike. But anytime that we went and it was a much harder surface, and 05 was actually the first year that they went crazy on us and started cutting all the berms down and having the flat turns before whoops and flat turns before jumps. So, which made it a lot worse.
And there it is.
You can see me right
winner.
here. I'm giving a bit of a flex, and that's Bobby Moore.
Oh.
I think that to comment on some of the things that Ricky and I went through is just, it was really his corner and my corner that hated each other more than actually me and Ricky, and then the whole team. And I think so many people had so many different emotions tied to it, and we all put so much effort into it that it was a big deal when we won races, for him and for me.
Yeah, it's like the Thor guys versus the Fox guys, and the Oakley guys versus the Scott guys. It's like,
exactly. It was just like everything complete opposite.
Ricky's second place, mad right now.
Yeah, so it was a good win for me. I was really pumped and put a lot of effort and work into that.
Yeah, I mean, you straight out outrode him, really. You know what I mean? He caught you for a little bit there. He made mistakes, couldn't keep your pace, and had to feel pretty good because, like I said, you straight up, rode away from him.
Yeah.
And to do that, to ride away from Ricky Carmichael at any race, anywhere.
Not a lot of people can claim that.
No, definitely not. Tim Ferry, Butts Creek, Chris Moto can claim it. But, oh, look at that.
Ricky was always pretty gracious. I think that as hard as we raced.
We felt like he wasn't on the team. We're like.
Yeah, but he wasn't when the camera was on him, whatever. But I think for the most part.
To you, yeah.
To me, he always come up and was fair and always congratulated me. And, whether it was, whether it was real or just to do it. Yeah. But for the most part, I felt like he looked me in the eye and said congratulations, and that's good enough for me. This is one of the coolest things. I think I grabbed the camera maybe here or something like that. Maybe that's another year, but one of the cool things.
I think this was the first year they let fans down there because they were talking about how the bike was skidding. Carmichael's bike was skidding, and saying maybe it's going to take some fans out or something.
And still to this day they do that. So we're getting ready for a Yamaha commercial burnout here.
There's the awesome graphics that you loved and all that.
All this straight, nice, clean, blue on blue. And
blue on blue with blue gear.
Blue with white or white with blue. This is my first year that I.
That's kind of cool.
That I actually got to change up my gear 50% of the time.
Oh, that was in your deal, wasn't it? That was in your deal.
That was the biggest holdup with me and Yamaha. It was a big deal that year. That was honestly why I was talking to Suzuki.
We do remember that, and we were laughing. And you had to wear blue on Anaheim 1, though. Anaheim 1 was blue.
Anaheim and Vegas, first race and last race, always.
And then the other ones you could switch.
And clearly, it's still in the contract because I see Stu wearing blue at the first race, always in the main event, and blue in the main event.
Funny that made you so mad. Well, I remember this was actually our first year that we did some special numbers. We even had like plain numbers.
Yeah. So that was a crazy thing. I remember that we had like pretty badass, bell bottom forks and everything like that, and everybody talked about our numbers more than our parts on our motorcycle.
Yeah. Well, hey, Chad Reed, thank you for doing PulpMX Classic Commentary Daytona 05. Good job, and thank you again, man. It's really interesting.
That was a good race. Of course it was interesting. I won.